Texas Math Mundo audience, do we have a treat in store for us today? We have a 7-time UIL state champion, Class 2A from Argyle High School from the years 2005 and 2006, Mr. Kevin Burnett in the house, a 7-time state champion. His insight is something that I really look forward to hearing right ahead. Let me take a moment and ask you that if you enjoy this content, please hit the subscription button and the notification bell. That really helps my channel a lot. Also, smash that like button and leave a comment below. Mr. Kevin Burnett, 7-time state champion, right ahead. My name is Saul Cantu, and this is Texas Math Mundo. Texas Math Mundo audience, do we have a real treat in store for us today? We have a 7-time UIL state champion in the house. In 2005, he was the number sense, calculator, and mathematics champion with the highest calculator score in all classifications. In 2006, he was the number sense, calculator, math, and science state champion. He was top physics scorer that year and again was the highest calculator score in all classifications. He was the first person to break a 300 under the new format. Also, he was the only one to score above 300 in the calculator event that year at state with a 315. Class 2A, a proud Argyle High School Eagle. Welcome, Mr. Kevin Burnett. Hey, thank you for joining us. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, Saul. I appreciate this opportunity.
All right. A 7-time state champion. I cannot pass that up. I'm really interested. to hear your perspective. So let's start off with, how are you doing, man?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. You know, this coronavirus thing has not been what anyone expected, but we're finding ways to adapt and keep on moving forward. So we're making it.
All right. And so how are you keeping busy? What's your profession? What's your career?
Yeah, sure. So right now, I am actually a software developer for a company called Bonda Health. We work largely in Africa. And so I'm living and working in West Africa right now. We're writing hospital software for hospitals that barely make any money, that can't do much. They're doing just what they can to stay afloat, much less afford some kind of electronic system. So we're trying to get in, help provide some assistance so that they can provide better care to the patients they serve. So,
wow, that's fascinating. A software developer for, really making an impact in this world. That's interesting. That's very interesting, Kevin.
Trying to. So, just taking the skills and abilities that I was given and using them however I can to help people. So yeah, it's great.
Oh, awesome. And I'm sure that takes up the lion's share of your time. But when you're not working, what are your hobbies and interests?
Yeah, totally. When I'm not working, we were talking a little bit about barbecue. I do love barbecuing. I built myself a smoker so that I could try to share some Texas brisket with some people from my friends and family from West Africa. So anyways, barbecuing, I like to read books, play games, board and video. And I also really enjoy hiking. So when I'm here in the US, which I am just right now, I enjoy trying to go to the tallest point in every state. So yeah, really? That's the fun thing I like to do.
Have you been to some tallest points already?
Yes, I have. I think I've gotten 43 states, so 7 more to go.
What? You've been to the highest point in 43 states?
I have, and it's a family thing. My family does it, plus some of my friends, and we say you have to go there to get there, which is a truism, sure, but they're out of the way, and you really get to go to some interesting places, and it's just a blast to go and explore and see some of these neat places.
All right, I have to ask. Once you get to the highest point, which state had the most memorable scenery?
I have to say it's probably a tie between Colorado and California. Colorado, when I hiked it, it was not a ton of snow, but there was snow, and it was a picturesque background. But then it's at the top of Mount Whitney in California. It's a 3,000 sheer foot drop. So it was pretty awe-inspiring to be there.
Wow. That's such a fascinating tidbit right there. That's awesome, Kevin. That's awesome.
Yeah,
wow.
It's a blast. So if anyone else wants to do it, come on. It's great.
Wow, great. That's great. So, 7-time UIL state champion. Where are you from, born and raised, and what is your cultural heritage?
Sure. So I was born and raised North Texas nearly my entire life. I grew up in a small town called Bowie, Texas. Go up to DFW, follow 287 the northwest toward Wichita Falls, and you'll hit Bowie. And it was great. That was the town my mom grew up in. Both of my parents are Caucasian, and grew up in a small rural town. And they were teachers, and so everybody either knew me because they either went to school with my mom or were taught by my parents. So wow. it was a small town through and through, and it was good. And then my sophomore year of high school, we moved to Argyle and spent my last 3 years there. So yeah, that's where I come from.
Okay, wow. Texas born and bred. Wow.
You got it.
So when did you realize that you had a talent for mathematics? Was it early?
Yeah, so my mom she's retired now, but a math teacher. So she taught geometry, pre-cal, algebra 1 and 2. And everybody, I think, probably assumed I would be good. I'm glad I didn't disappoint them too badly, but my brother and sister were good at math. And then I just remember being in elementary school, and my teacher, Mrs. Graham, would give us these tests. It was 100 problems. I think in 3rd grade, it was probably just addition. But 100 problems, see if you can do it in 4 minutes.
Wow.
And I couldn't always finish it, but I noticed I got farther than most. And so I was like, maybe I'm kind of good at this math thing. And then I want to say it was in 4th grade that we really got into some stuff where they brought us all into the cafeteria, or it may have just been a subset, I'm unsure. But we took a number sense test. And I think it was to kind of test our aptitude. And one of my, I had the 3rd highest grade. My buddy Joel, he got a 63. I think my buddy Matt got like a 61, and I had a 42, and I was ecstatic. So they put us in to start learning some number sense, and that's kind of where it took off from there.
Really? So Miss Graham, back in 3rd grade, you got a hint of it, and then in 4th grade, number sense 3rd place. So you start to realize you had a little knack for it.
Right. So we started learning some number sense tricks then. I enjoyed competition, and we got into that. And I remember trying to learn how to FOIL in 4th grade, two-digit numbers, and I was terrible at it. Wow. But that's okay. Just keep on going. So, yeah.
And having a mother as a math teacher probably helped.
Right. Though, yeah, she always said that, I don't remember this. She always was like, you never came to me for help, Kevin. I wanted to help you. And I was like, sorry, my apologies.
Hey, you were probably her favorite.
So it was fun.
All right, good. So what was your introduction into competitive mathematics? How did that happen?
Yeah, so competition. To say I'm competitive is probably a little bit of an understatement. So I remember in church we were doing a track meet, and I wanted to win at the track meet, and I think I actually did pretty good in long jump. Surprisingly, I'm not the smallest guy these days, but then I was involved in youth basketball that we would play and wanted to win, and so it was really through then that fourth grade number sense that then we started moving forward and jumping into the competitive mathematics, and that continued. I just did number sense until middle school, and then got involved in calculator in middle school, and then started math and science when I got to Argyle in my sophomore year. Okay. So that was kind of the introduction that then opened the gateway to the rest of what happened.
To 7 state championships. Wow, that's really incredible, man. I can't believe 7 state championships, man. That's Hall of Fame. That's Hall of Fame if there was ever Hall of Fame, man.
Well, we'll talk more about this, I know, but as I look back on it, there are so many times that it could have gone wrong, right? I could have been sick, or something could have happened, or just could have had a bum day, or maybe my mind just wasn't in it. And, so I was blessed that those didn't happen and I got to get the rewards, but I recognize it could have gone another way, another day. So I'm happy.
That's humble of you, but it's destiny. It was destiny. So who are your inspirations? Who are your inspirations? Who's helped shape your value system? Stuff like that.
Yeah. So one of the things that were my inspiration was honestly some of my competitors. I remember walking into Argyle sophomore year, and Les Murphy, which you've already interviewed, he was there. And not only was he good in UIL, he was a fantastic euphonium player in band. I remember walking in, and the tryout music, he was just blazing through it. And I was like, I want to be that good. So really? Him, other people, I remember Mr. McCurdy. I think Les mentioned it, and Mr. McCurdy may have talked about it. There's a lady by the name of Joy Kennedy from Bridgeport. Yeah. I've never met her. I haven't even looked into her records, but he was always saying, she was one of the most winningest of all time. And I was like, wow, I want to be like her, but then also I want to beat them. Right. Of course. Back to my competitive, I want to beat them. And so, that was part of it. But then ultimately, I am a follower of Jesus. And so my youth minister really shaped as he poured into my life, named Lonnie Moore, great guy. And it was ultimately, it got down to, why am I competing? What am I doing this for? Am I doing this so that people look at me and say, wow, Kevin's awesome? That's not the best reason. And so that was really what was defining and working on with me at that time was, why am I doing what I'm doing? And I'll talk more about that later. But that was kind of some of my core values of why am I competing? What is my reason behind it? And in high school, I don't think it's even still today, I don't always do it for the right reasons. But those were some of my core values for why I did what I did, and, what was going through my mind a little bit during those times.
Wow. That's very reflective. That's interesting. That's deep, actually. That's deep. Why am I doing this? That's very deep.
Right.
I wonder if Les Murphy and Joy Kennedy know how much they inspired you. That's interesting. I hope this reaches their ears.
Sure. Yeah, I'll send Les a message. Be like, hey, man, go check it out. Appreciate your help.
Oh, so you still talk to them occasionally?
Well, I haven't in a long time. So anyways, we can figure something out.
This will be a good excuse. There'll be a good excuse.
Right. Exactly right.
Great. And then Lonnie Moore, minister, really help you get reflective about why you're doing the things you're doing.
Right. So. He was going through seminary at the time, and everything he learned, he taught us, which was amazing and fantastic. And really pouring into us, what does it mean to follow Jesus and things like that. So, that's what really shaped then and continues to shape my values these days.
Okay, I'm great you mentioned that. I'm really great you mentioned about the spiritual side and stuff like that. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I do want to get into the 2005-2006 season UIL and Argyle High School. What was Argyle High School like in 2005 and 2006? What do you remember about those years?
Yeah. When I remember those years, I remember it as like a spirit of anything is possible. And the reason why is because, as Les mentioned, he was the first graduating class, which I think was the class of 2003 or 4, right? Somewhere around there. And in 2003, we won the UIL State Marching Band Championship.
Wow.
And I mean, we're a brand new school, and here we are doing that. It was awesome. And then I don't remember if they had state championships in either football, basketball, volleyball by that time. But by the time of 2005, 2006, those were possible. And our teams were good. And I mean, that year, the football team was the state runner-up. I think the volleyball made it pretty far. I think the girls won the state championship. The boys were close. I mean, in academics, we did well, such that we won the Lone Star Cup that year. And I mean, it was just like everything is possible if you apply yourself and you do it. You can achieve it. When I was younger and some of my competitions, there were some what I termed unbeatable people out there. But in those times, it's like you could do it. You've got a team around you. You've got teachers, coaches, others there that are willing to help you. And with your application of yourself, it's possible. And it was exciting. And it was a joy to be there.
Wow, what an environment. What a picture you paint. So, it was happening at Argyle in those years.
Right.
It probably still is. But yeah, it was really happening at Argyle. What an environment to be part of. What an environment to be part of.
It was the blast. And it was, I don't know if I'm a sanguine personality type or not, but I do enjoy having fun at what I do. And it was fun. That's one of the words that I can use to describe it. So It was great.
Do you remember your teammates, your coaches? Would you like to give a shout out to them?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, going back to Bowie, I kind of already mentioned Joel Lawson is still a great friend of mine today. Most of my the people that are about my age, we're still friends today. So Joel Lawson, great guy. My buddy Matt Hurst, who's doing better than me. He ultimately switched to focus on football, and he's a coach now, and his team actually won the state championship a couple of weeks ago.
What school?
So,
what school?
Lorena.
Wow.
So yeah, they won. So way to be Matt.
Wow.
So did that. Those were my teammates in Bowie. As we got over to Argyle, I'll talk plenty more, but Brock Spratlin was really one of my closest friends and great teammates. And I'll have plenty to say about him later and all that he did, but I mean, truly a fantastic guy. And I'm blessed to know him, and how we got to know each other is a great story. But him, Les Murphy, of course, they kind of laid the foundation before we got there. Les Murphy, and then Justin Freeborn and Josh Albritton. Those were three guys that were older than me that were really doing a lot of good stuff. And we kind of got to ride on their coattails a little bit. So it was great. But yeah, Brock, people younger than me, there was Justin Johnson, Chris Wilkerson, Thomas Quintana, Kirsty Wade, Heath Delka, Eric Katzen, Tyler Cass, Joe Forrest. I mean, there was a great amount of people there that were really doing good, teammates wise. And then to top it all off, we had great coaches. So we had Cliff McCurdy, which one of the best teachers that I've ever had, and great Kimberly Cass doing chemistry. We had so much fun in Mrs. Cass's class. It was great. And then Les Murphy, well, I'll talk about that later. And then my mom was also there. So she wasn't overly involved in the UIL, but all of her math classes fed into them. So, and then with me being there, I mean, she was involved in stuff like that. So yeah, that was good. And then one last one. Yeah. Cindy Harris, she didn't stay there my senior year. I think she moved down to a town south, Keller, maybe. Mm-hmm. I'm unsure, but I mean, she was great, and she really welcomed me into the program and kind of helped me find my feet before I got into Mr. McCurdy's classes. So yeah, it was good stuff, and great teammates, great coaches.
So sounds like a cohesive bunch. That
yes,
so, a group of people who liked each other, and you all bonded with mathematics. So you weren't working solo. You had a whole environment of people you could talk to. And did you all go to many tournaments?
Exactly. Yeah, we had a good cohesive team. We went to as many tournaments as we could. So, there are conflicts with cross-country meets and football, basketball games, all that. But it was like, we're going, and if you don't have a conflict, it's not required that you come, but, come on. And I mean, those competitions were fun for me. So yeah, we were going to as many as we could.
So, as a 7 times champ, I'm kind of curious. I have to ask, what were your study habits?
Sure. So we had, on Mr. McCurdy's video, he mentioned that what changed from one year was that they got a dedicated study period. Same students, same teaching methodology, but suddenly the students started excelling. And that's because they had that dedicated class. And that's what we had. So we had a dedicated, it was an independent study. So we could technically study whatever we wanted to. But honestly, we really enjoyed the math. And so we studied the math or the science as well. And so what we did is we had days dedicated for a particular event. So we had a day for number sense. We had a day for calculator, day for math, a day for physics, and a day for chemistry. Didn't have a day for biology because Elaine Harris, that Les mentioned, she had moved to another, maybe another school or had retired. I can't recall by the time that I got there. And the biology teachers weren't really interested in UIL at that time. Yeah. So we were kind of going on our own on biology, which that really we didn't do so well in. But that's what we did. And then, similarly after school, most people, they've got an athletic thing, depending, training, practice, whatever. I had several knee surgeries by that point, so I was out of athletics. And so I focused purely on UIL. And after school, we stayed for an hour or two doing various UIL practices. And that was nearly every day. So we were putting in probably, I don't know, it varied, but we were putting in quite a bit of work to make sure that we were able to succeed and perform as well as we could.
Wow. Y'all put in the work and you got the results. It's nice when that happens.
Yes, exactly right. And some people put in the work and they don't get the state champion level. That's how it happens sometimes. But I think the key is the work there and the discipline to keep going.
Absolutely. I was going to ask, do you remember any rivalries in those days? I know you mentioned Joy Kennedy.
Yeah.
So do you have any memorable rivalries, from those days?
Yes. As a school, Bridgeport was one of the biggest. So when I was in Bowie, we started calculator in middle school, and I did pretty well in that. But I think I remember the number sense competition. My goal was to get fourth because Bridgeport was going to take 1, 2, and 3. And it's like I couldn't compete with those guys. And I didn't think there was any way that I could. And then moved to Argyle, started doing a little bit better, and then was finally able to have some good competition with them later on. But it was really at Bridgeport there was kind of the school. But, I mean, there were individuals as well. At Bridgeport, there was this young lady named Paige Scarpinato who was a fantastic competitor. She was great. She kept me on my toes. I remember at Team SCA State, there was a guy named Wes Brown from Ballinger, I believe it was. And, man, that guy was good. Like, I am still to this day kind of proud and arrogant, and I'm still working on it. But I was like, I got this. Team SC State's going to be a breeze. And then Wes Brown came in and nearly beat me in every event. I think he did beat me in like math.
Wow.
And it was close for Top Gun. So I was a little bit nervous, but yeah, Wes was great there. I remember there was a guy from Callisburg named Liam Guthrie that he was the best in biology state champ. And I was like, I want to see if I can try and compete with that guy. So he pushed me to get better in biology. And then there were two guys, I can't remember. It's down near Waco, what school they went to. And if they watch this, they'll be upset at me. So sorry, guys. But brothers, Colin and Lowell Walter. And I competed against Lowell in band and playing tuba. I'm a tuba player. He could wipe the floor with me. And I was just trying to, was best I can to keep up with him. And then in math, we had a little bit better competition. But yeah, those two guys were also good competitors that, I had the pleasure of competing against.
That's awesome. I say this about UIL and what you just mentioned. When competition drives us to excel, we all win.
Exactly right. So, exactly right. Because without competition, you're not pushed to succeed. I kind of languish, perhaps, maybe sit on your laurels if you have any. But I think through competition, it's like, okay, I can't rest. Somebody out there is training to get better. And if I don't try as well, I'm not going to be able to compete. And so let's try this. And it was really awesome.
Absolutely. So I have to ask, which calculators did you use?
Same as Les. The HP 32S2 is my favorite. So still in West Africa in my house. I've got it on my desk in case I need it. I don't use it a ton, but it's still there. My buddy Brock found this awesome otter case. I think it was a fish tackle box, but actually the 32S2 fit right in it. So that's what we used for our calculator cases.
Wow.
But
it still works.
Use that one. It sure does. So I make sure it still kicks and goes. So I appreciate it. And then use the TI-89. We tried to use the titanium because they had some additional functions on them for like cumulative distribution stuff and statistics that the regular 89s didn't have. So we used those. And then I think it was either my junior or senior year, but HP actually came out with like the HP 33. And Mr. McCurdy wanted us to have those as a backup, but I did not like that calculator. It didn't feel right. The buttons were off. And I was like, I would rather not have a calculator than have to use that. So anyways.
Wow. I'm familiar with all those calculators, by the way. I'm familiar. You know, there are some 33 fans out there. They're
and more power to you. You know, if that's your favorite, rock it. I couldn't do it. So
they're both out of production now. So
right.
Awesome.
So yep, those were my tools of the trade.
Great. So what is your most memorable moment or moments from those years? Was it the state meet?
The state meet included what was memorable to me, but what was most memorable, honestly, was the time that I get to spend with friends. So I am an extrovert, meaning I get energy from being around people. And that's what I enjoyed the most. I enjoyed being around the teams. I enjoyed working, learning with those people. I mean, going and relax. There were times after school where it's like, hey, let's go grab a bite to eat, watch a movie, go over to somebody's house, play games. That was, for me, the best. And at the state meet, we did that. I remember at one of the state meets, somebody, I think when I was a sophomore, somebody brought an Xbox and we brought a LAN cable and we played Halo between the rooms, you know, just having fun. Or we would go out before the number sense competition was at 8 a.m. And so we were out there throwing a Frisbee or something like that. And to me, that was some of the most memorable times. It's just spending time with my teammates and my friends. And yep, we got to win. We got to celebrate together. But it was being with them that I really enjoyed. And then also, I got a benefit, a blessing that I know a lot of people don't, but my family was there and supportive and cheering me on all the time. Even at the TMSCA meets we would go to at a local high school. My parents are there, award ceremony, cheering me on. I mean, my grandfather had passed away at that time, but it's like, if Granddad were alive, he'd be here too. And it was really just a blessing to have their involvement. And I know a lot of people don't. And so I'm sorry if you don't get that. If you do, it is such a tremendous blessing and encouragement. And for the love that they were showing, I remember that my Uncle Q, my dad's brother, was superintendent at Birdville ISD. And we competed against them in the calculus bowl that senior year, and we happened to win. And my uncle went into the math teacher and was like, so how'd the calculus bowl go? And she was like, well, we lost to Argyle, and there was this kid named Kevin. And my uncle was like, yep, that's my nephew. So, you know, it's like the whole family was involved in cheering me on and cheering the team on. And that was what was one of the most memorable things for me. So
I'm so happy you mentioned all that, especially the family component. You know, if you're fortunate and lucky enough to have that sort of a family support, it really should be appreciated. Because sometimes parents are unsung heroes, and only years later do you recognize the critical roles they play. So I'm so happy you took a moment to recognize your family for their support. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great, and I mean we're a close knit family, so it's good stuff.
You know, I think there's an analogy to be had here. You know how you've been to the highest peak of 43 states? Mm-hmm. Well, you were at the highest peak at UIL 7 times. So I think there's an analogy here. The question is, how does it feel to be a state champion? And 7 times or less. At the highest peak, how does it feel?
Yeah. It's an accomplishment that I'm proud of. And at the time, you know, it symbolizes the effort that I put in and the team that I worked with, that we all put in. And so I'm glad to have that, and I'm proud of it. At the time, it was extremely important to me. UIL was, and I mean, if you're doing something that's not important to you, I would argue you need to recheck something. So it was important to me. But on the other hand, I've got to say, it's not, I mean, similar to climbing the highest peaks, it's not something that I think about daily. And the reason is because I had to go I did go to a conference a couple of years ago, and they had us write down all the titles, names, maybe labels that we associate with ourselves. So it's like, I'm a son, I am a tuba player, I am a UIL state champion, I am a brother. And we wrote down as many as we could think of. And then we had to go through the process of saying, recognize that where you're about to go, most of these will have no meaning. So what do you put your identity in? And it really paused and made me think of, okay, what is my identity? And with that, I think it helped me put things in their appropriate place. So UIL state champion, yep, it's what I am. It's something I did. And like I said, I'm proud of it. It helped make me who I am today. But it's not what I put my identity in. And I'll talk more about that in a little while. So it's good. And yeah, I'm proud of the accomplishment.
Great. Where do you keep those gold medals today? Where are they?
Yeah, well, since I work overseas, I can't take everything. Those medals they didn't make it over with me. And so they, along with other things that are important to me, have stayed here in the U.S., typically in storage at a family member's house. So, yeah, I mean, that's where they are. And most of the stuff that I've kept aside from those are things that it's like, good, I'm going to come back and I need to use. Like, okay, right now it's January, a little bit cold. I need a sweater. Where I serve, it's not that cold. So anyways, but one of the things that I'm thinking of doing, it's like, because I like those, they represent a lot of hard work that was put in. But I'm going to go actually, I was talking with my mom about this the other day, go down to Argyle and see, hey, do you want these medals? Do you want them? I don't want to toot my horn, so please don't. You can leave it anonymous. Do you want to display them? Because they're part of the school. Is that helpful? Do you guys want them? What would be good? And see what they want to do. And because, okay, great, they could sit in my closet for the rest of my life since I can't take them over there. But could they be a better inspiration to somebody somewhere else? And if so, let's get that set for them. So that's where they are now, and that's my plans to see what I can do with them.
Okay. They're special. They're special.
Yes.
They should be prominently displayed. So they are special. That's awesome.
Right. We went through a time of pruning things around.
I'm sure.
The house as I got married and things like that, and we were giving away a bunch of stuff, and I was like, I got to keep those because they represent a lot of hard work and a lot of time put in and great memories. So awesome. they are good things. I enjoy them.
Awesome. So where did you go to college and what degree did you earn?
Sure. I went to the University of Texas down in Austin, majored in aerospace engineering. Wow. So that's what I got my degree in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did your UIL experience, you think, help you through college and your career?
Oh, most certainly. One of the most physical, obvious, concrete examples, I'm not sure what word, is that I had a physics test in my physics class in college, and it was an E&M test, electricity and magnetism, and worked a problem. Got an answer, but then realized I needed to apply a certain formula we had learned in high school physics, and I did, and it worked. I got an answer, I marked it. The professor counted it wrong, and I went to him, and I said, Professor, shouldn't we have done it this other way? And he looked at me and said, how did you know how to do that? I learned it in high school UIL. So wow. He was like, do you want a job? And I was like, yes. So I got a job working in the laser lab down there at UT, and I worked in the machine shop, got to build all kinds of things, which was a blast. So that helped me. But several other things like just knowing how to take tests, knowing how to prepare for them and take them. I mean, tests in college, they were not a big stressor for me. I won't say they were easy, but they weren't a big stressor for me because taking tests is what you do in UIL and you compete. And so, I mean, that work and that experience I had gained through competition really helped me with that. And then two, when I got out into my career, I'm doing software development now. So that's what I did. I actually had to develop a website where we were displaying a bunch of data. I'm not a data scientist or analyst or anything like that, but we actually had to do a lot of data stuff and do some graphs and I was like, we could do linear, we could do logarithmic scales, we could do all this kind of stuff. It'd be great using all the math I had learned. And then my coworkers came back and was like, Kevin, I don't think the users are going to know what a logarithmic scale is. And I was like, fair point. Okay, we'll take that out. But it was awesome because a lot of my team, they were like, I remember learning this, but I don't remember what I learned. So Kevin, I'll let you have at it. And I was happy to, because it was fun for me. So those are some of the ways that it is. And I can share a little bit more later about how my time in UIL has kind of shaped who I am today. But yeah, that's some of the examples there.
Hey, those are great stories. I love that one where the professor offered you a job after you impressed him with that test. That's
right.
Awesome. Those are great stories. Great stories.
Yeah. And it was all because of the work that Mr. McCurdy had us do of going through and memorizing the formulas. And There we go.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
What do you value the most about your UIL journey?
I would say I value most how it's helped me. So I'll go right into what I was just saying, how it's helped me be who I am today. One of the things that I am today is, or things that I do rather, is that I don't mind trying new paths when I don't feel old ones are working. For example, on the calculator test, at least at that time, the standard procedure was to work all the number crunchers, just where you're pushing in buttons, and then go back and spend the rest of your time on stated and geometry. When I was taking the test, calculator, number sense, whatever, I was listening to everybody else, seeing who turned what page when, and I was losing focus. And I was missing stuff, or I was slowing down, and I was just frustrated. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to work the stated and geometry first, and then I'll go back and do number crunchers. So switched up the methodology.
Wow.
Wouldn't work for everybody, but I was like, I'll give it a shot. And it worked for me. So I knew how long it would take me to go on number crunchers, all that kind of stuff. And today I do the same thing. If people are doing something some way and I don't know it's working, I'm like, well, let's try something new. I don't mind doing that. And that started from my days in UIL. So doing kind of stuff like that. I really like to share what I know. I'm not given something so I can hold it in my fist. I'm given something so I can say, cool, who can I share it with? And when we were building the number sense team, because when I got there, we didn't have a number sense team. So we were recruiting and trying to build it and have fun. It's like, I'll make worksheets for everybody. I'll put a number sense problem. I'll put the trick, how to do it. I'll put the why it works so that you don't use a trick without knowing why it works. And then here's 30 problems to practice with. And I made up a bunch of those to hand out and help my teammates and stuff like that, and it helped me, because to teach something, you've got to know it well yourself. So, but it's sharing what I know. And I continue to do that today. Okay, this is great. Well, who can I share this with? What can we do? And then, just asking how I can be better. In all honesty, I do have a pride problem. Okay, I maybe can cover it up, in a few things, but it's something that I work on. And then, I remember walking out of an awards ceremony at Argyle, and I had my box, and I was into lifting weights more than I am now. But I was talking to my buddy Brock, and I was like, dude, Brock, look how heavy mine is. I can do weights. And he came back to me later, and he's like, Kevin, that was kind of arrogant what you said. And I was like, oh, dude, I am so sorry. That's not what I meant. But he was exactly right. And he's still one of my best friends today. We talk at least every month. And, but just pointing out, I've got a pride problem, and I can't even see it. And so that UIL experience really helped me work on that, and has continued to work on that. And it's like, I wanted to win because I want people to know I'm the best. And it's like, okay, Kevin, let's reassess. Let's figure out really what's going on there. And ultimately it comes down to pride. And it's a journey that I've been working on my entire life, and I will continue to work on, but it's something that started in the UIL career and is continued to shape me today. It's like, yep, I've got a pride problem. That doesn't mean I can't have a drive to succeed. That doesn't mean I can't succeed. I just need to check again. Why am I doing what I do? So anyways, those are, just a few things that really are impactful and that I really appreciate about my UIL career. They have helped shape me into who I am today in a lot of different ways.
Wow, that's fascinating. There is some distance between 2005 and 2006 and today. So I'm sure some self-reflection, some maturity has set in and stuff like that. So that's really, really fascinating. I do want to say, though, to feed it to your ego a little bit, if If anybody's word is, should be weighted, it's a 7-time state champion. Your word will carry some weight. When they hear 7-time UIL state champion, and rightly so. You very few people ever reach that rarefied air. You know where I'm coming from? So that leads me to my next question, which is I think is the most important question I ask you. Yeah. What advice do you have for young students that may come across this interview? Perhaps a younger version of yourself, or any student that may come across this interview.
Yeah. So I'll break it. I got 3 things for any students and looking back at myself. So first, I will say, don't let whether you win or lose define you. Define who you are. 2, learn from everyone. And 3, kind of what we've been talking about this entire time, figure out why you're doing what you do. So let me dive into a little bit of those real quick. So, okay, don't let whether you win or lose define you. It's like when I lost a competition, and yes, I did lose, I thought I was a loser. I wasn't any good. I'm a failure. All these other negative thoughts. Those are lies. And I don't need to listen to those. They're not true. Because regardless of whether I win or lose, those are things I did. Those aren't who I am. And, it's like, okay, winning doesn't mean that I'm the best. I happen to have the best score that day. And again, winning is what I did. It's not who I am. And I, for so long, pushed to win so that I could get verification from my fellow man that I am a winner. I am good. I am awesome. I am fill in the other positive statement. That is not true either. My identity is not grounded in that. And again, like you said, it took me a long time to come to that. And it's still something I work on today. I struggle sometimes to do some new things because it's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't want to fail, because if I fail, then I'm a failure. False, not true. So I would encourage you, student, if that's what you're working towards, if that's what you think, I challenge you to rethink that, because whether you win or lose doesn't define who you are. So, okay, enough said about that. The other one, learn from everyone. I think with enough humility, you can learn from anyone. That includes your other teammates that you may think you're better than, like I did, which again, working on, or your competitors, or people younger than you. As a senior in high school, it's like, I'm the big dog. I don't have anything. These freshmen and sophomores better get it out of my way. It's like, throw that out the window, please. See who you can learn from. See if there's a new trick that the new freshman guy or gal is applying that you're like, whoa, I didn't know that could be done. That's a good way to think about it. You can learn from them. Even if you're the state champion, you can still learn from a newbie. So give it a shot. Spend some time doing that. And then really the big kicker, figure out why you're doing what you do. Why are you competing in UIL? Why do you want to win? Why are you practicing even? And it's just like, think through those. I'm not meant to challenge people, or to attack people, but think through that and come up with an answer. And it's like, other people can't tell you those things, despite what they may think. They can't tell you those things. And so you need to spend time thinking. They can help you. They can help identify, and a good counselor is a wonderful thing. But, and it's something you may not know the answer to until you're out of high school, out of college in your career. I don't know. But it is a worthwhile endeavor to spend time thinking about why you do what you do. There's a great book even by Simon Sinek called Start With Why, and do that. And that'll give you a good foundation. And whenever you come up with the answer, own it. And if you don't like it, change it. You can change how you think. So anyways, that's what I'd say.
Great insight. Great advice. Everybody's journey is unique to themselves, right, but they can really grasp onto those 3 main advice bits that you gave them. That's awesome insight, awesome advice. I appreciate that, really.
Yeah, sure. So anyway, yeah.
What does the future hold for you, Mr. Kevin Burnett, 7-time UIL state champion?
Yeah. So the biggest thing for me is I'm about to be a father. So
wow, congratulations! That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's about to be a big change in my life, and so I'm excited for all that entails, and jumping in full throttle and being the best dad that I can. My father gave me an excellent example. So just of how to love, how to discipline, all those things. So I'm excited about that. And then one other thing that I'm actually really looking forward to is where I work. In addition to programming, I also teach a leadership class at a local high school there. And I would love to start a math club. I don't know where it could go, but it's like, okay, UIL, it's a Texas thing. Could we get it somewhere else? I don't know, but I would love to start in the school I'm in. Could we do a math club? And then could we start having competitions? Could we rope in other schools to then start competing and start taking standardized tests that I could write, someone else could write, whomever? Could we expand it to the state? Could maybe expand it to the country? I don't know. But I mean, to me, the math that you learn lays such a good foundation for your collegiate career, for your career. And I think it would only be beneficial if we could do something like that. So that's what I'm going to try and see if we can do, because for me, math is a fun thing. I had success in it. And my viewpoint is that everybody's good at math if they can hear one thing. Like, it's just in their thinking. It's like, this is hard. I don't know how to do it. But then they hear one thing and it all makes sense. I remember that happening for me. And it's like, okay, we can do this. So then everybody could be some kind of good at math, and then we could really change the world and do some cool stuff. So anyways,
awesome.
that's what I'm going to try. I don't know if it'll pan out, but I'm going to give it a shot.
Awesome. Hey, have you ever returned to Argyle High School? Or is that a part of your distant past?
No, I have returned there. So my father, he passed away a little over 10 years ago. And as a teacher there, the students, I don't remember if it's a class of 2011 or 2012, but they put an eagle statue there in honor of him.
Oh, wow.
So I return there from time to time. Again, my buddy Brock, something happened in his family, and there's something special to him there. And so we've gone back a few times. Like my wife, she never got to know my dad. Unfortunately, I think she'll get to know him again one day. But until then, that statue is kind of one place I could take her. It's like, hey, this is where my dad had an impact on the students here. And so been back for a few of those things. But I think these days, when I'm in the U.S., my main times are going back to rent a tuba for Tuba Christmas. So anyways.
Awesome. Wow, what a wonderful gesture with the eagle, though. What a wonderful gesture by the school.
It was very kind of them. And it meant a lot. So we appreciated that.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Any parting words or final thoughts as we conclude this interview?
Yeah. Final thoughts. I would just go back to kind of a theme that's been running through the interview, is to spend some time thinking on why you do what you do. And it's truly a blessing. I feel a lot of people, and myself in the past included, just kind of drifting here and there, just going where the wind flows. But it's just like, if you can know why you do what you do, for me, it's how I was made and designed. If you don't believe as I do, okay, what you're passionate about, that'll suffice too. But so that you can run after it and pursue it, and not just be going with the flow, but really being intentional about what you do. I don't think, my father-in-law likes to say, we don't spend time, we only invest it. So I would say invest time into thinking on that subject and pursuing it. So do that. And then the other thing I was going to say is that if that math opportunity I was talking about piques some interest, or people just want to figure out, ask me more questions or anything like that, they're welcome to contact me via email. Maybe we put it in the comments or whatever. I'd love to chat, share with you what I can. Be a blessing and a benefit to you. So that's my offer for you.
Great. I'll put that email in the chat and the video description below. Awesome.
Sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. You know, Mr. Kevin Burnett, been to the peak of 43 states and been to the peak of UIL 7 times. 7-time state champions. I can't express my appreciation enough for you sharing your perspective and story. Such a beautiful perspective and story. I really do appreciate that. You know, you look at the archives and, it's very impressive when you see your name, very impressive in the archives. But I love it that you gave, that name, that, a face, a personality, some insight. I love that you make that name in the archives come alive through this video. So I really appreciate that. Furthermore, hey, we're both barbecue people. We love barbecue.
Yeah.
You ever get close to the Houston area, drop me a line. Drop me a line. Well, let's go. Let me treat you to some barbecue. You know, we'll have a good time talking UIL.
Oh, I'm down for that. You talked me into it, Saul. So thank you.
Please do. That would be a great treat for me if you drop me a line. Let's go eat and talk some UIL, man. Talk some UIL.
I'm down for that.
Kevin Burnett, I appreciate you so much. I wish you the very best, and I bid you farewell. Farewell.
Perfect. Thank you, Saul. See ya.
Take care. Wow, what great energy from Mr. Kevin Burnett, 7-time state champion the years 2005 and 2006 from Argyle High School, a proud Eagle. That was a great and such an enjoyable interview with Mr. Kevin Burnett. Let me take a moment and ask you that if you enjoy this content, please hit the subscription button. It really helps out my channel quite a bit. And the notification bell. Smash that like button and make a comment below. I have many beautiful and wonderful things ahead in store for this channel, and your support, I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. My name is Saul Cantu, and this is Texas Math Mundo. Farewell.